So the Nigeria Incentive Risk-Based Sharing System for Agriculture, or Nirsal PLC, was incorporated in 2013 by the Central Bank of Nigeria with about $500 million seed money to catalyze the flow of finance and investments into fixed agricultural value chains. Joining me now from Abuja studios is the Managing Director of the agency, ALIYU ABDULHAMEED. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for staying with us on this show to discuss what your agency has been doing. Very quickly, what are the innovations that we've seen in Nigeria's food security space since the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in the month of March?
Thank you, Boson, for having me. It's my pleasure being here with you. Some of the innovations that were born out of necessity was the leveraging of ICT solutions in order to ensure that communications are seamless amongst farming communities and between agencies and farmers and banks and other stakeholders in the value chain. This is extremely important, but particularly for Nirsal, we were able to create a model, what we call the agro-geo-cooperative model, that stands on the theory that when farmers are scattered and they are not structured and they do suboptimal kind of agricultural production, they will never be able to access finance in a way that can really bring about a step change in the agricultural economy. So we created the agro-geo-cooperative model that even at the pilot stage, we were able to create about 2,300 of such geo-cooperatives of 250 hectares. That gave us nearly 350,000 hectares, 500,000 farmers at pilot level. Thankfully, through the Central Bank Anchor Borrower Program, we are offloading these farmers and they are getting financing. But you can see technology has enabled this kind of organization and structuring of farmers to happen remotely.
But there are risks when you talk about the sector. There is flooding, there could be low-cost problem. So there are very challenges in this sector. How have you been responding over the last a period under review in terms of the structuring of the farming communities, looking at the risks that is inherent in this sector and how you're mitigating them?
It takes a village to be able to risk manage the agricultural primary production sector. Other segments of the agricultural value chain, the input supply segment, the midstream segment, which involves processing, logistics, warehousing, the downstream segments, which involves the industrial markets, the export markets, and the consumer market. These are fairly easy to understand their risk universe. But when it comes to primary production, it really takes a village. In other words, it requires special tools, techniques, and methodologies of risk management. It requires the insurance industries to come together and create innovative new products that are more like index-based insurance products rather than the standard indemnity-based insurance products. It requires almost boots on the ground to risk manage projects live. These are the combination of activities that we need to put together in order to support and risk manage primary production. The thing is, if you don't put those tools, techniques, technologies, and boots on ground to support primary production involving millions of farmers scattered over the geography of Nigeria, it is difficult to convince finance to see clarity in order to leverage the balance sheet of banks. So it is absolutely necessary to link the elements of the value chain, to de-risk the entire value chain, and to make the agricultural value chain acceptable and risk acceptable to the finance sector. Otherwise, the risk acceptance criteria for banks to be able to finance primary production involving farmers will not be easy for farmers to meet, except there's third-party intervention. And that is exactly what the central bank achieved by creating Nirsal to do that heavy lifting.
Yes, this risk sharing and risk mitigation process, which Nirsal, your agency, was set up for, very important. But funding is also important, I'm sure you know that. So agribusiness, in the first half of the year, how much has Nirsal facilitated?
You know, there's normally a lull in Q1 activities across all sectors of the economy. It so happened that nobody had the prognosis to know that COVID will hit us from Q2. So as we were about to pick up on the commitments of banks last year, through the Nirsal window, we had an aggregate commitment of 160 billion naira across about 18 commercial banks in Nigeria, looking towards 2020 to begin to disburse under the Nirsal guarantee mechanism. But then, lo and behold, COVID came in. But even in spite of that, through our remote support and activities, we're able to leverage, in spite of the COVID challenges, up to about 18 billion in the first and second quarter. We hope that with now the ease in the ease of the restrictions of the lockdown, we hope to leverage more of such financing and be able to boost our target for this year to about 40 billion, in spite of the COVID condition.
The feedback report from the field, we want to know what has been the impact of what has been done so far this year. You haven't been able to do as much as you had wanted because of COVID-19, but of course you've done about 20 billion. So in terms of the field report, what impact has NASA's intervention has done? What impact has it made so far?
Well, yeah, thank you. I got you now. So 20 billion going into primary production has huge multiplier effects. For every farmer you support with credit, remember that farmer supports at least 5 people on his activities. And that has a knockdown effect down the value chain. Every farmer you activate by creating credit for him, he also activates at the back end input supply mechanism that involves fertilizer, seed, animal feed, and the rest. And then when he produces and harvests, even leaving apart the labor that he requires on the field, during harvesting, storage, primary transport, and primary processing, that requires labor. Not to talk of the fact that it is the primary production of the farmers that feeds into the midstream. So that activates processing, it activates logistics, it activates warehousing. So there is a pre-production economic stimulus effect of creating that amount of credit. There is also a post-production knock-on effect for the rest of the value chain. So these are things that you can extrapolate and calculate, but they're happening in real time.
The role of NASALs in central bank's anchor borrowers program, how far has it gone?
Yeah, even though we are owned by the central bank, we are also similarly a participating financial institution under the anchor borrower program, including other banks and other participants. So we are mandated to execute programs assigned to us by our owner. It's been excellent. NASAL is expected to perform in terms of setting standards for other stakeholders in the anchor borrower because we are enabled to deploy risk management tools. So our performance has been excellent in terms of recovery, in terms of deployment, but we try to kind of create centers of excellence in our processes. Yes, our performance has been steady from the 2017-2018 season, and we know that going forward, we hope our performance will be scaled up by the central bank.
I'm going to ask you the final question about your outlook for the rest of 2020. And very importantly, if there are lessons that you've learned within the first 6 months or 7 months of this year, we're now effectively down the month of July, that will help you move on to the rest of the year, looking at the fact that the pandemic or the virus is still around, government is still trying to manage it whichever way it's done. So I'm sure you will have spoken with the farmers, you would have spoken to those within the value chain. So what lessons have you learned here that will help NASAL improve your intervention?
So starting with the outlook, I think the Nigerian economic outlook will have to be juxtaposed with the global economic outlook under the COVID or post-COVID economic environment that we're likely to see. When you look at the global economic situation as it is today, you realize that political economy decisions that are being taken by major powers, by advanced economies, by emerging economies like China and the US, and those political economy decisions have knock-on effects on economies in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, particularly Nigeria. It has a knock-on effect on our capital flows. It has a knock-on effect on diaspora remittances. It has a knock-on effect itself on even our exchange, our cost of capital within the country. Those things will affect the cost of capital, interest rates, exchange rates, inflation rates. It will affect our financial markets in terms of the equities market, the fixed income market. It will also likely affect the total credit available to the economy, which will knock on output. It will knock on expenditures and income, which will have a total effect on the economy. So with that said, we believe that within this challenging environment lies in an opportunity as well. Don't forget, most economies have imposed export restrictions of their food commodities, and therefore everyone is on its own. Nigeria cannot be left alone. Thankfully, the fiscal authorities and the monetary authorities, Central Bank of Nigeria, have been able to come up with excellent policies that are really, really amenable to agricultural development. And we are ready, together with the farmers and stakeholders, to take advantage of this slew of policy options that the fiscal authorities and the monetary authorities are bringing up. And that is good for agriculture. For example, linkages along the value chain, ensuring that the market approach is adopted, ensuring that primary production is structured so that it is optimized, ensuring that processing is linked to primary production is linked to input, and all of them working together can create a very seamless risk control environment for financing to happen. This is the kind of outlook we're looking at.
Well, thank you for your time this evening. ALIYU ABDULHAMEED, the Managing Director at Nirsal PLC. We appreciate your time speaking with us.